Good evening. Good evening. I feel like a teacher. Don't know why. Hello, everybody. How are we? How are we? How are we? How is your Friday evening? It was beautiful. It's now less beautiful, but we've got some beautiful things to show you. Do not worry. We're in it for a mammoth evening. It is Friday the 11th, I think, of June. And we're off. We've got loads to talk about this evening. We are meeting a lovely team. They're in a different country. They're over the pond, like little skip over a little fat stream. I don't know what sea it is. They'll tell me in a minute. They're probably educated. The rate they make this stuff, they're dead clever because I've already had a bit. I'm very excited. So we're chatting to Mourne Distillery. And later on this evening, we're chatting to another distiller. It's all go. But you know what's exciting? It's our first whiskey. Like exciting, scared. That's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like skiting? Sounds like a disease from the 1800s. Oh, she caught skiting when she went on a trip to Mallorca. Don't think they went to Mallorca in the 1800s. Anyway, how are we? How are we? If you are joining us this evening, we're streaming on everywhere, Facebook, everywhere. My name is Kate Carney. If we haven't met before, where have you been? What have you been doing? Have you even been drinking gin for the past 12 months? Of course you have. It's been lockdown. I do this. Take a little look at your leisure for your pleasure. Sound like I've said it before? I haven't. So this is the brand who we are talking to this evening. The wonky angle thing. I'm not going to lie, because I've told Neil this already. I can't pronounce some of the words, which sounds really bad. I feel like if I was on Radio 1, I would be forced to practice to get them right. I can't, and I'm not on Radio 1, so I'm going to remove that stress from my life and instead let the people who make this special spirit tell us all about it. So we're chatting to Mourne Distillery. The offers that we have on this evening, because I know normally at 6 o'clock, 6:30ish on a Friday night, I'm doing GVC, which is QVC but with gin. If you're new to this, so lots of the offers are now on for the 25%. So it's this bottle plus free delivery plus a mini. What is already on? So the Mourne offers are on, and you can now search by brand. If you go on to sipandshare.co.uk, you can search by brand. Makes life nice and easy. Who wants distractions? Who wants obstacles getting in the way of our spirited purchases? Not me. So you can now see the Mourne collection. Quite like that. Let's see if Neil likes that. Neil's in marketing. I reckon. Neil, what do you think of the phrase the Mourne collection?
I think it's got the makings of a really good film trilogy, actually.
Yes! Oh my God, can you imagine?
Well, if you need anybody to star in it, we're up for it. Like if you need it.
Yeah, I think it would be a little bit harsh if I stood. Like who would play in a story about Mourne Distillery? Who would play you? If I didn't let you do it, because in this world I'm in control,
yeah.
It would be a bit hard.
I would like someone with like a really like long, luscious hair. Like if they could do that, that would be great.
Double bucket.
If not, Jason Stratham would do.
Chewbacca.
The guy that was in was he a mermaid, a merman, or a titan, or Aquaman?
Oh yeah. I'll take him. Yeah, I can. The resemblance is uncanny. Like it is.
I would also take him. So we're both. We can agree on that.
You could be gin guy.
I will. Yeah, that'll be my superpower. I'll be gin guy. A good one to have.
Not a bad superpower to have.
No,
anyway, hello team. Happy Friday evening. Who are you? What's going on? Who are Mourne? Give us the intro. Tell everybody about Mourne Distillery whilst I pour it. I'm going to open this one.
Yeah, make sure you enjoy it. So yeah, we're Mourne Distillery. I'm Neil. I'm the sales and marketing executive here, and this is Donald Carl, one of our directors. Donald set the company up in 2017 with Noel, who's not here at the minute, but I'm sure he will be on in future videos that we'll be doing. So we've been going for the last 4 years or so. We have 8 products at the minute, and we are pretty much a fusion of ancient and modern. So we have a lot of sort of old recipes, old methods of the way that things were done back in the day in the Mournes, but we fuse that with sort of cutting edge techniques and distillation methods. So we're pretty unique in that sort of sense. We're quite different to a lot of other distilleries. So the one that you've got in your hand there, just if you want me to start talking you through
Yes,
the product.
do. I'm going to try to get it open. Oh yeah, there we go.
Can you pronounce that one?
No. Look, I'm not going to pretend because I feel if I pretend, it makes it worse.
Well,
So Kilbrony.
yeah, very good,
Kilbrony,
very good. Yeah, Kilbrony is, and there will be, just so your members know, there will be like a free lesson in Irish with every purchase of the bottle. We'll make sure to organise that. But Kilbrony that you have there, so it's a local park. That's probably our most well-known product. It's a local park here in the Mournes. The Mournes are an area of outstanding natural beauty in County Down. We're on the Carlingford Loch sort of area, and that is just on the border between the north and south. So any of your followers that like Game of Thrones, they'll know the Mourne Mountains from a lot of the scenes in it.
Should have started with this. This is the film sort of celebrity angle. Basically, you're the distillery off of Game of Thrones. That's what we should have led with.
That was our big reveal at the end. But since you've already said it now, you know, we'll let you away with it.
Directors. That'll be director's cut.
Yeah.
That'll be director's cut.
So that's our Kilbrony gin. That's probably, as I said, our most well-known product. It on the Restraver. And you get it there. You probably get a bit of spice on the nose. It's quite a creamy gin. And we've got some esters and that which leave a bit of an oily palate, but they add to the flavour of the gin. Donald will be able to explain more of the sort of distillation process and that later on that, or if he wants to jump in now.
Yeah, probably a good time. We have a couple of sort of novel processes that we use here. Not unique. I'm not going to make that claim, but certainly the way we do them is probably different. But the Kilbrony gin, it has a juniper base, obviously, and that's conventionally distilled. But then we make a range of tinctures. We use citrus, we use rose petal, we use bay leaf, amongst other herbs. But we do those in our own design of a vacuum still. And we're running 2% atmospheric pressure, and at that atmospheric pressure, the ethanol boils off at about minus 2.7 centigrade and condenses in a condenser system that we run at minus 35 to 40 centigrade. So it's a really low energy, low pressure system. And the significance of that then becomes in terms of the effect of the distillation on flavor molecules. Flavor molecules are not damaged. There's no Maillard reaction. So the delicate flavor molecule, let's say of an orange, comes over as an orange distillate, whereas conventionally it would come over as a marmalade distillate. My background is actually legal. I used to be a barrister, or I'm a barrister. And years ago, I came across vacuum distillation for extracting DNA. DNA is a really complex molecule, and vacuum distillation keeps it intact. So over a period of years, we should have decided to run with this project and use vacuum distillation as a key component of the whole production process. So what we get in Kilbrony as a result of the vacuum distillation is a gin that has a lot of fresh flavors and has very high ester content. Now, esters are like oils, and that's why you see a label on the side of the bottle telling you that the gin may go a bit cloudy, may loosh at low temperatures. That's the oils precipitating out. But those esters give it a terrific mouthfeel, so that you can drink it neat.
Yeah.
I saw George Clooney. George Clooney did this years ago, and this was one of our other ideas. George Clooney was in the distillery that made neat sipping tequila, and we thought, well, let's make a neat sipping gin. And Kilbrony, you can drink neat if you so choose.
Yes, I am choosing currently. It is incredibly smooth. It's got a very, very nice mouthfeel. I know exactly what you mean about the oil, or not really, but the creaminess of it.
Creaminess, yeah.
You can taste all of the flavors. So actually, I got nose on the nose, a bit spicy and a bit citrusy, and then taste-wise, it's kind of got a citrus spice floral thing. It's definitely gin lovers gin. It's a gin gin as well.
You should get, you'll certainly get floral because we use rose petal quite extensively, and it's a significant tincture. And at the end, you should be getting a spice because we use a mix of cubeb and grains of paradise to give it spice.
It's a beautiful gin. It's a gin lover's gin. And thank you for the amazing offer, by the way. Well done, Neil. If you had to persuade, you did a very good job. Okay, it's on a brilliant offer for Signature members with a free mini. And we want to talk about the free mini for a moment as well. Because what is the word, Neil, and how do you describe it?
It is poaching. So yeah. Phonetically, I will let you, every time I'm writing to you, I'll make sure it's phonetically spelled out. So
Please.
You don't have to worry about the Irish. Poaching is basically it's sort of an Irish spirit in its own right. It can be made in a variety of different ways. Now the miniature that we'll be giving out with our for this offer is a hazelnut liqueur poaching. But in the past, poaching has been made. It sort of had a moonshine element to it, but now it's becoming like a real mainstream spirit, especially in the export market and in sort of the mainstream Dublin market as well, and all over the place. It's like an unaged whiskey, our version of it. And again, Donald is the man for this. He's the sort of the expert on how it's made and things like that. But yeah, it's proved pretty popular. Ours is called the Puka. So the Puka was an ancient Irish spirit, so just like poaching. The Puka is synonymous with like coastal and maritime communities. It can bring good and bad luck. You'll see it on the bottle. Actually, it's like that sort of. And we have one here. Yeah, it's almost like a sort of hair. Yeah, so it's like a hair or whatever you have, like a rabbit sort of feature, but it can morph into different sort of animal characteristics and things. So it could be like a wolf or a horse. It's just been passed down through the years, and it's a mythical Irish beast. So that's where we sort of got the inspiration from that. And the artwork on that actually and on our bottles has been done by a really famous artist over here, Catherine Callahan. So any of your members that are buying that, those are obviously the Mourne Mountains on the Kilbrony and Restraver. The Puka is our own sort of version of how we think it looks. Right. Any of your members that do buy one of our bottles, they're owning a mini piece of artwork as well when they're getting that. So
I like that, Neil. Well done.
That's the marketing in me. Like Donald can talk about the aspects. I'm not clued in with the science part of it, but this is where Donald's the expert on that. So he'll be able to talk to you a wee bit more through maybe about the history of poaching and how ours differs from the regular some of the regular ones, because some of the regular poachings you'll see are clear in color. They're almost like a vodka. They'll look like that, whereas ours has like golden color, and that's with our aging process that Donald can talk about now.
So it's not a good. What's the base of it then? What's kind of the base of the spirit? Is it
the base? Yeah, the base is a blend of pot still barley distillate and then on column still grain distillate. Our blend, where we take the column still grain and infuse it with roast ground hazelnut, and we then after that soak for a while, we redistill, and we redistill at a low temperature. Otherwise, if you distill at a high temperature, the oils in the hazelnut will come over first, and you'll get this messy, oily, glary distillate. But because you're distilling at such low temperatures and pressures, the oil stays behind, and what we take over is a clear hazelnut flavored distillate, which I've never tasted it anywhere. And the inspiration for it came from an old guy who I met when I was doing research on this project many years ago now. And he was making an illicit poaching with hazelnut, and he was sort of doing his best on it. I thought it was really, really interesting at the time, but it was just short of being a commercial product. But it was the sort of basis and the inspiration for the poaching that we're doing now. He had the problem that he was conventionally distilling. So when we found that when we used the vacuum low temperature distillation approach, that we solved the difficulties he was having.
So can I guess that, and I really want to open it, but that's just greedy because I've got a beautiful gin and tonic, and I'm know this sounds really sad, but I'm so happy because Neil is awesome. How are you, Dean? You don't, but Neil and I have been trying that. And I tried your Rostriva, which is the one behind you, last night, and I literally smiled and I screamed with joy because I said to myself, if that's a representation of, in terms of the flavour profile, the attention to detail, and the clarity of the description and how appropriate that is to the taste, I'm so excited to try this gin, and that's why I've got this in my hand, going, oh God, like Christmas Day.
It's Friday. You're allowed to. We'll not judge.
Poaching is probably the original Irish spirit, more so than whiskey. The Irish phrase for it is ishka poaching, or ishka poaching is poaching, ishka baha is whiskey, and ishka poaching is water of the pot. A pot in Irish is potta, and a little pot is potini. So poaching is the liquid of the small pot. So there is a book or a collection of documents held in the Church of Ireland Diocese of Ossory down south in Ireland, and it's called the Red Book of Ossory, and it was put together in the 14th century, and it has documentation going back to the 7th century, and one of the things it has from the 7th century is a recipe for a distilled spirit, and the distilled spirit recipe is very, very close to what one might expect to see in a contemporary gin in terms of its ingredients. But because most of the ingredients appear to come from the Middle East, you can imagine that it was sort of reserved for the wealthy and the high tables. So we really have Henry VIII to thank for the fact that we have a distilling industry in Ireland, because in 1541, as I'm sure you all know, in 1541, Henry VIII dissolved the monasteries. Yeah, well, now you do. And the demolition of the monasteries happened in 1541.
Come on, can we talk about that?
He basically kicked out all the monks from the monasteries onto the road, and the only thing that they could do to keep themselves alive was to sell their skills in distillation. And their skills in distillation, certainly in the Irish context, I'm not sure what happened in England, probably the same thing, but their skills in distillation spread from clergy to laity in a period of a generation, and then making poaching became sort of endemic in Irish society from then on, until it became illegal in 1661 because everybody was drinking it. And it's had a checkered history since then. For a long time, it was the superior spirit because the whiskey makers had to pay a tax, and therefore they cut corners. But in the last maybe 200 years, the reputation went downhill because they started to use sort of substandard materials, and they were under pressure, and they were hunted by the law. So it's only in the last 20 years now that it's become legal again, that people like us can actually sort of pick up the cudgels and take up the old recipes and start experimenting with making what used to be a very fine spirit again.
So is it sold? Oh, I can hear talk. Can you hear talk about it?
We're okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Is it sold mainstream now in bars? Over in Northern Ireland, yeah, and by lots of distillers. Are lots of distillers making this? Is this kind of a common product from distillers' perspective?
Yes, is the short answer, but they're not making the product in the same way that we are. We have a sort of research project running with Queen's University in Belfast, which uses it's attempting to use. It's using accelerated maturation techniques, and we're using those accelerated maturation techniques on our poachings. The technical regulations for poaching say that you can only keep it in wood for 10 weeks. Otherwise, it starts to become a whiskey, and you can't sell it as a poaching then. So we do what we can with it in the 10 weeks. And the two poachings that you have, the hazelnut and the blend number 1, are the first fruits of those maturation technique experiments that we're doing with Queen's.
So how long have you had this for in your range? Which order?
It's out for 2 years now.
Right. Okay.
For 2 years. Yeah,
So this was your first gin that you launched in 2017.
that's correct. Yeah.
2017. And then what came next on your spectrum?
Then, well, what came next was the Cutchings,
Right.
and then the whiskies, then the vodkas.
Then the whiskies and the vodkas. So where does the Rostreva? So I've got the mini. Oh, I've got the mini that I drank last night.
We're gonna correct you. We're gonna correct you on one of your pronunciations.
Rostreva.
It's Rostreva, but very close. Rostreva. So it's Rostreva's a town actually right beside, and Kilbrony, you could sort of say, is in Rostreva. Rostreva's a town that sits on the seaside, just on Carningford Loch, and really picturesque, really beautiful. Highly recommend a visit to any of your members. But I'm actually working for the Rostreva Tourist Board at the minute. That was a joke. That was Irish humour, Kate. Sorry. But we so that's sort of our second signature product alongside the Kilbrony. Coming into the summer, it's such a huge seller for us. The flavour profiles of it, as you've sort of had a conversation with me last night, are incredible. The versatility of the product as well. We suggest it with ginger ale. That's my signature serve with it. Some people with soda water. And we've actually just got feedback tonight on bitter lemon with it as well.
Yeah,
It's
bitter lemon.
very, very nice.
Very
and
nice.
I think that's Donald's.
I'd like lemon juice and soda water. Probably, possibly a little bit of sugar syrup, but it's quite sweet to begin with, so it doesn't need sugar syrup. But certainly lemon juice and soda water would be nice.
So tell us about what's in Rostreva.
Trevor.
The
I think
Strava,
somebody called Trevor.
like Trevor, basically like
Strava. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about what's in it. What have you put inside it to make it that beautiful, rich, deep red colour? How do you get that? What's in it?
It is basically we buy fresh raspberries and strawberries and get them frozen for us, because to get it consistent all year round. We can't keep buying sort of from month to month, so we have a stock of that we dive into from the fruits in season. We have a stock of raspberry puree, and we then sort of use that. We blend it with basically our Kilbrony.
Right. Yeah.
We basically blend it with Kilbrony and sweeten it up, and that's really, there's not much more to it than that.
It's absolutely beautiful, and the thing that I found is the depth of flavour. So someone is saying, Kate, say it like the name Trevor, Rostreva.
Yeah,
that's basically yeah.
Okay. Rostreva. Okay, I can do that. But it's the depth of flavour, and I really feel like that Rostreva will hold its own in cocktails. Like it will.
Yeah.
It's got such a clear flavour profile to it. Well, as I said to you, Neil, I absolutely raved about it, and I think so much so I put it a pride of place on my shelf downstairs because I colour coordinated today, like a sado. Okay, and then whiskies. So you are our first whiskies on Sip and Share. Like, it's crazy, and my husband is very, very happy. He was all of a sudden interested in what I'm doing. So I was like, no, you stay away from this giant box. Thank you very much. So tell us about the two whiskies.
Yeah, so we released our whiskies just about October time last year. So we just have two out at the minute. We have our green label. I've got the red label. We have our green label, which is our blended Irish whiskey. It's triple distilled. It's a very, very smooth whiskey. Personally, it's my favourite out of the two. I think Donald's more of a fan of the single malt. But I just think it's such a smooth whiskey to drink. I would drink it neat. I don't think it needs a mixer at all. And it is that sort of higher quality blend. Some people, when they talk about Irish whiskies, have that potentially not a snobbery of blended whiskies, but maybe just they think the single malt is always the higher quality. It mightn't always be the case, but I think we've really taken the time to blend this whiskey to make it as smooth and as drinkable as it can be. And I think hopefully your husband will agree with that. Because for me, it's just on a different level of a lot of the Irish whiskey blends out there. And then we have our single malt, which again, everything we do is slightly different to every other distillery, and we try and sort of put our own stamp on it. We have included a slight peatiness into this single malt whiskey. It's not an overpowering peatiness. It's not something that would turn people who don't like peated whiskey off it. It's about 20% peat, and it's very, very subtle, but you will get that hint of sort of smokiness on the end.
Yeah, I think that the phenol count for people who are really into their smokiness, the phenol count is sort of 8 to 10 parts per million. If you wanted to compare that, let's say, to a Talisker, waves of Tory. If you wanted to, well, somebody might know. Somebody might know. It might not all be cast on stony ground. The phenol count on, let's say, a Talisker or a Lefroy would be anywhere from 35 to 50 or 60. So, from those, Alien malts are very smoky. Ours is not in that level of smokiness. Ours is much lighter. It's almost, if you like smoky whiskies, or if you've never had a smoky whiskey, it's an introduction to smoky whiskies. It's very, very lightly peated.
I feel that tomorrow, whilst I'm building the new guinea pig hutch for the kids, I might do a whiskey tasting session for my husband before we pick him up from gymnastics. Whiskey tasting, blind taste. I might do a blind taste test. Oh my god, I might film it. Oh, Neil, I might put it on a reel. Oh goodness.
Yeah, and make sure you show us the finished guinea pig house as well, actually, with the whiskey beside it. That would be great.
Use all your assets, use everything you've got around you. Pop a little mini. It's a father and son duo. That speak quietly, kids don't know. So maybe a mini of the whiskey and a large one and a picture for Instagram. That might work.
Yeah, we'll reshare that, don't worry.
So do you guys have a visitor centre, or do you have tasting sessions, or give us an idea of what it's like in the distillery over there?
Well, it's definitely not photogenic. We are in an industrial estate, which is great on the one hand because we have top quality water and we have 3-phase electricity and we have all the sort of road structure that someone like us needs. But it's not photogenic. However, we are in process of availing of a change in legislation. Now, legislation in Northern Ireland for businesses like ours is Stone Age. Each update in the legislation was just a rewrite of the previous one, and the last one was back in the mid-90s. They are putting legislation through the Assembly in Belfast at the moment, and it should be in place in the next 3 or 4 months. And that will allow us to have a proper visitor centre and to run our spirit experiences. We are working on 2 projects at the moment. One is to create basically like a spirit school where people come in and we can show them how to do vacuum distillation and run desktop stills over a period of several hours, so that at the end of the session they'll be able to take away their own bespoke bottle of spirit that they've made themselves. And the second one is probably a bit more theatrical. We're going to be doing it in premises in Ross River. It will be taking people through a history of poaching and a history to some extent of the Ross River area, which is really, really old and that has a lot of fascinating stories attached to it. So the second of those will probably be the first one that's up and running this time next year, and the first of them will probably be towards the end of next year by the time we get everything done.
Now, Donal, when you say more theatrical, being a person with a crazy imagination, and you say that to me, I am absolutely envisaging headwear and some sort of traditional Irish outfit. I don't know what that looks like, but Neil, if your social media presence is strong when it comes to the visual.
Green.
Yeah, it's just me in a leprechaun outfit, basically. But the first thing we have to do is just like, if you come over, Kate, we'll spend a day on like teaching you the names of the places first, and then once we're there, we get you into the experience. But yeah, and that actually what Donald just mentioned there is pretty much an inside scoop to you guys. So you can put like a yellow breaking news banner on the bottom of it and let everybody know. I don't think we haven't contacted Sky News yet, but that's it's you.
Somebody at the door.
It's you first, and then Sky. So.
Twitter's all of a sudden gone trendy. That due Mourne is trending. Oh my God, gossip news. More than up for a trip over business expense.
Of course, yeah. Of course.
Anything, not just because you get anything to get away from the kids. Residential stay at Distillery, don't mind if I do. Tour of Ross Trevor. Yes.
Oh,
you're getting there now, yeah. You're getting there.
Basically Irish, really. The irony that my surname is Carney and my husband's granddad and it's Irish stuff, and everywhere we go to see the kids, first person says, are they twins? Second person says, are they Irish? Neither of which are true, but yeah. So I'll learn how.
Kate, I'm sure you know there's a landmark pub down in County Kerry called Kate Carney's Cottage.
Right. No, don't all. We've understood that I am gullible from Neil's joke earlier. So there is a cottage called Carney. There is a Carney cottage. I know that because my sister-in-law's been, but I don't think it's got the word Kate in front of it.
It has Kate Carney's Cottage. Google it.
No, I'm not going to Google it. No, because okay. So
wrong, but
if it's there, brilliant. If it's not there, I'm making a Wikipedia page for it. I'm linking it to your website and I'm putting my picture on it. So we'll have it either way.
We'll do it. We'll set it up somewhere, yeah.
It's Carney with a Kearn.
Yeah.
Right.
The proper way, proper Irish way.
Near enough.
We're more the travel way.
We still might give you a free room if you sort of mention your name or something. You know.
I feel if I walked in and put on an accent, there's lots of things that are wrong about that. And then if I changed the spelling of my name, I'd be going to quite a significant blend. But you guys seem great and the gin's fantastic, so I'm up for this.
Well, anytime, more than welcome.
Was it Brian Carney used to play rugby for Ireland? Any relation? Same spelling?
No, I don't.
Spelling with
No.
Carney with a C, yeah.
We can also tell everybody that we are thinking about doing a little event in August, aren't we?
We are indeed, yeah.
Oh my goodness, somebody's just put if that's the real lead, that's hilarious.
That is it.
Oh, I now own a cottage, the Irish me. Yeah, so we might be doing, Neil, we're going to chat, aren't we? But we might be doing a little fun thing in August.
Yeah, around the middle of August, I believe.
Basically, it's my birthday on the 9th, so everything is now being circulated around my birthday. Yeah. So it's basically a gin-fueled birthday party online with you guys.
Yeah.
And the leprechaun outfit that you mentioned earlier, and the fancy dress associated with the theatrics that you're doing.
And we've got like balloon walls and everything ready for your birthday, so don't worry.
A selfie frame and a Mourne Dew blended selfie. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page. Okay, well, on a serious note, the gin, and they've only drank it because they are bloody brilliant. Like the gin lover inside me, not the Sip and Share, the gin lover inside me is filling my heart with joy because they are very, very good. So thank you so much for making them and giving them to Sip and Share on such an amazing exclusive offer with a little freebie as well. So that's very kind of you.
Yeah.
I feel they go in the must-have box. I'm going to put them in the must-have box, which is a nice box to be in. There's not many in there. It's a good box. Anything else we need to know about Mourne Dew before we let everyone get on with their sunshine-filled Friday night?
I would just say keep an eye out in the upcoming months. We'll have a few different things coming up, especially if you like glassware offers, things like that. Sort of gift boxes and tubes. Just make sure you're sort of following our social media and your social media for that. And we should hopefully have some exclusives for the Sip and Share guys. So
Neil, I don't.
You did not pay me to say that, but you can send me over like £5 or something.
Yeah, I'll send you a bottle of gin.
Yeah.
You should be reading the news. Be a lot more. I would watch the news a lot more if you were reading it.
I don't think anybody.
But you would have to do that as well. You know, you just.
No, I'm a nightmare. I can't control myself. Neil, I don't think anybody has ever used the word. There's going to be a lot of tubes as an incentive to keep their eye on social media. But
I left that open ended. I didn't want to say whiskey tubes just in case anybody's getting different ideas. Whiskey tubes might excite people. The word tube might. So
Do you know what? We don't judge. There's a lot of niches in this world.
gotta stand out somewhere.
If you like a tube, keep your eyes on at Mourne on Twitter and at Mourne Distillery on Instagram.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right, okay. Let's let everybody go to their evening. Go and have a lovely time. I will be back chatting to someone else. It's a busy night. And we'll see you all soon. Donal and Neil, thank you so much.
No problem.
Inclusive reel. The reel that I did has had like 3,500 views, by the way. My version of that. Probably because it was 16 kilograms. the giant box. So thank you so much, team, for amazing offers. And we will keep our eye on Instagram, looking out for your tubes. And I will speak to you both very soon.
No problem. Thank you very much, Kit.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a nice evening.